Hello, hello.
Heyo.
I like that one. Heyo was good.
I almost meowed,
Oh,
so...
well, I'm really glad you didn't.
Yeah, me too.
Welcome back to Creeps and Coffee. It's actually both of us again. Look at that.
Woo! Dynamic duo back again.
It's crazy. Did I tell you that my boss started listening to our show?
Hey, Caitlin's boss.
Hi, Emily. Yeah, well,
I'm excited to be back.
Yeah, it feels good. As cool as it was to do solo episodes, I do miss having Jamie's reactions to the things that I say. Because here's the thing. I am well aware that I am the one that does most of the talking when Jamie and I do episodes together.
I'm the humor.
But exactly. I'm the history and the useless details that not all of you want for everything. And then Jamie comes in with a little bit of comedic zhuzh to it.
Yeah.
I've been using
when I was listening to them and editing the episodes, I was thinking things and I was like, God, if I was here, this would have been funny if I said this.
I know. There was a few times where I laughed at my own jokes and I was like, ooh, that's embarrassing. But you gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, I'm glad we're back together for at least this episode, and this is a weird one. I
feel like I am a broken record because the episodes that I'm on now are usually episodes that I pick. So I'm always like, I'm really excited for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I am...
As you should be.
I am excited for this episode because, yeah, it's not your typical cryptid, and it's kind of multifaceted in a lot of different ways. So I'm excited to jump right into it and take a look at a wild cryptid that I don't really hear much about. So
I've never heard of it until you mentioned it.
So let's talk about the Van Meter monster.
I'm Kate.
And I'm Jane, and this is Creeps and Coffee,
a show where we talk about the dark parts of the world around us.
Cryptids, conspiracies, things that go bump in the night.
And the crimes behind the scariest creatures of all, humans.
Join us as we take a look at the stories sure to give you the creeps.
Pull up a seat, grab a coffee,
and let's have a chat.
Can I just start by saying, there's no official Wikipedia page for this cryptid.
No, there is not.
And I think we should make one.
I would love to do that. I will start by saying, to no one's surprise whatsoever, everybody get your shots ready. I heard about this, this cryptid, originally through an episode of Astonishing Legends. Actually, through 2 episodes, because they did a 2-part series on it.
Oh.
And what I think is interesting is that in the same way that Astonishing Legends approached it, this cryptid was originally called the Van Meter monster, which is what we will title this episode.
Mm-hmm.
However, from a book that came out covering the incident and going through all of the history of not only the cryptid, but of the town of Van Meter, which we will get into, it was renamed the Van Meter Visitor. Because here's the thing. We don't...
If I'd shut up and waited 3 seconds.
Yeah. Glad you said it. Because the reality is we don't know what this creature's intentions were. It wasn't necessarily aggressive. It wasn't necessarily for a specific purpose. So it kind of makes more sense to just call it a visitor because we don't know if it was a monster specifically for that area, right? So it's kind of been rebranded, and they do now have a Van Meter Visitor Festival every year. So I think it's an interesting way to look at it and how things have changed. But in order to properly look at it, we need to know the context of what we're looking at. So we're going to zoom out of 2026. That's the year we're in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you eat it?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot's happened this year. Let's just take it back.
That's fair. Okay. All right. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were interjecting. That was just your commentary on the flavor of 2026.
Lemony. Got a little bit of lemon pepper in it.
A little bit of lemon pepper. Oh my god. we're going to zoom out of 2026 and we're going to throw ourselves into the little town of Van Meter, Iowa on September 29th, 1903. Weirdly enough, my mother's birthday. Obviously not 1903. She's not that old.
Old.
September 29th, 1903 started roughly 5 nights of crazy activity in the town, like I said, of Van Meter, Iowa, which was very, very small. What's hilarious to me is that all of the people in this story sound like they are the most stereotypical people to come out of 1903. Because the story begins when a local businessman named Ulysses Griffith,
Yeah, I bet.
but went by U.G. Griffith, but U.G. Griffith noticed what looked like a moving light on the rooftop of some buildings around 1 a.m.
Dolly, what's that obscure thing?
I hate you so much.
This episode is sponsored by True Crime Culinary, a podcast that blends food history, true crime, and some unique survival stories that you may never have heard of before. I know I haven't. Each episode blends history, humor, and crime through the lens of food, and you know we love 2 things on this podcast. We love true crime, and we love food. A few episodes that I think you folks would enjoy would be the Sweet Potato Silencer, the Trick or Treat Murder, the Putin Drug Bust for my fellow Canadians, and of course the London Beer Flood and Guinness. I've already listened to a bunch of their episodes, and I think that you folks would enjoy them just as much as I did. I was listening to the Rice Krispies and urination product tampering video earlier today. Hey, what the heck? There are some things that maybe I wish I didn't know from that I'm learning from this. There's one called the Chocolate Cream Killer. I love the alliteration in that. That's cool. And of course, Nanny Doss and the Prune Cakes with the Poisoned Husbands. Never heard of that before. That's a fun one. Yeah, I think you folks would enjoy it just as much as I do, maybe more. The episodes are a great length. They are considered like bite-sized episodes, so less than 30 minutes. It is packed with information. It keeps my attention. It would be great for anyone with ADHD. The topics are fun and new, and I am learning things I never would have expected. And I really enjoy that this podcast explores a niche in the true crime community that I think we've genuinely just been missing. It is so refreshing to hear these new stories being told this way instead of the same 5 stories about like Ted Bundy, O.J. Simpson, the Zodiac Killer, the Manson family. You know, we've all heard those 1,000 times before. But you've never heard of the Rice Krispie urination tampering video. Don't lie to me. But yeah, go check out my new favorite podcast and send them some love. Let them know we sent you. Feel free to comment, follow, subscribe, rate their podcast 5 stars if you enjoy it. I gave them 5 stars. Episodes drop every Thursday, and they are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
At first, he thought it was a burglar, which is fair. As he got closer, he claimed that the light belonged to a massive winged creature rather than a person. And additional witnesses would report seeing the same thing over the next 5 days. So, the Van Meter visitor, or the Van Meter monster, apparently appeared out of nowhere, which is surprising considering that it's an 8-foot tall, half man, half
Yeah, it just came out of nowhere.
Winged beast. There was conversation on Astonishing Legends, take another shot, that it was very similar to stories of almost like a combination of Mothman and like the Jersey Devil. So witnesses claimed, in general, obviously descriptions varied a little bit, but what was generally agreed upon across different statements was that this creature was 8 to 9 feet tall, had huge bat-like wings, not light wings, huge bat-like wings. And what's important to note with that too is even though it was bat-like wings, they described the arms not being attached to the wings. So you know how like with
like a wyvern versus a dragon? No?
I have
Not
no
following.
idea what a wyvern.
It's like a dragon, but not.
Like,
It's
okay.
like a little different.
Alright, perfect. That was a really
Cool.
good description.
I'm pretty sure like a wyvern, the wings are the arms, but a dragon has the wings
Okay, then yes.
and arms and feet.
Then yes,
Okay.
exactly. So I was gonna say think of like a bat, where when they extend, they've basically got wings with the little hands at the end,
Mm-hmm.
versus what you think of like,
A fairy.
yeah, exactly.
Cool.
They said that this thing seemed to have smooth, leathery skin, and their body was large rather than what you would anticipate of like a thin bird shape when you think of.
Sexy.
Okay, Jamie,
Smash.
keep it in your face.
I'm sorry.
I'll see your opinion after this. I think I know what it's going to be. But the most distinct aspect of this was that it seemed to have a horn or some sort of projection on its forehead that emitted light.
Sit on it.
I knew you were going to say that.
Sorry. Yeah, I had questions about beam of light, like a laser,
No, like a
like a headlight.
you know those fish,
Oh,
but not floppy, like not over hanging. I have to go.
It was erect.
This episode's over. I'm quitting the show.
This has to be marked as an explicit episode.
I'm quitting the show. I can never do this again.
How obscure. Continue.
You know that one comment we got that was like, oh, this was a really interesting topic, but...
I wish they'd stop giggling.
Yeah, but I could not stand the giggling between the two hosts. This is one of those episodes. This is just for you, that guy. Welcome to our show where we have fun. So it had this erect horn on its head. Similar to Mothman, it had eyes that glowed as well. It had...
What color? Does it say?
No. Just like glowy, distinct eyes. A very powerful sulfur-like odor. 3-toed footprints, like a dinosaur. And it seemed to be... We don't need the sound effects for everything, actually. Oh my god.
I just want to be included.
And it seemed to have strange hopping movements before taking flight, as if it was kind of preparing to take off. So it wasn't like a stereotypical, like a fairy, I guess, to go back to that, where they can just flap and be up. It seemed...
Maybe it's a momentum.
Exactly. It seemed to need to build up a little bit of momentum before it could take flight. So obviously, again, the strangest feature by far was that this forehead horn would emit light. And witnesses described that it was a bright beam projecting from its head, almost like a spotlight or like an interrogation light sort of thing.
Huh.
Not like a bat signal sort of beam, but like a strong projection, you know what I mean? Not a laser, not a just super, like a headlight.
Yeah.
So, on night 1, again, we talked about Eugene Griffith. He was the first to encounter it. Again, he saw this moving light crossing the rooftops. In true 1903 fashion, he grabbed a gun, fired at it, and it escaped. Which, honestly, even today, if I saw someone on top of buildings, because also keep in mind, a lot of these buildings, Van Meter was a very small town, actually. Let me look up. In 1903, super close to London, the population of Van Meter, Iowa was approximately 400 people. So, keep in mind, the town of Van Meter itself is 400 people. In 1903, a lot of these, especially small towns, have the local business on the bottom and then the apartments on the top. So if you are witnessing, like if you are the individual that's witnessing someone up on this rooftop, first of all, you probably know the people that own the building. Yeah. So you're more likely to want to protect their space because it's someone that you care about. But also you know that if this, what they assume was a person at the time, gets into whatever the building is from the rooftop, they're not only getting into a business or a bank or a restaurant,
house.
They're getting into someone's home as well.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of pride and defensiveness that goes into that. And again, it's 1903, small town America. You're just going to whip out a gun and fire.
Right.
So fired at it, said it escaped. And then it came back. And it wasn't just U.G. Griffith. The very next night, around the same time, so this is the other thing, most of these sightings of the Van Meter monster were around 1 o'clock in the morning. And it always seemed to be at this time, which I don't know if there's any correlation between the monster and that time, but around that time, the town doctor, Dr. Alcott, was passed out asleep, because it's 1 o'clock in the morning, in a room above his office. Because like I said, there's lots of these, like, and honestly, I wish that we did more of it now, because it would be so much easier. As, speaking as someone who works from home, it's so much easier to be able to roll out of bed and just, like, go downstairs to go to work.
True.
Than do a commute, all the things. So they were onto something in 1903.
Yeah.
Really missing out on a lot of other things. However, I digress. Like U.G. Griffith, Dr. Alcott was also awoken by this bright light that was shining into his window. And I don't know about you, but the thought of a bright light shining directly into my window at 1 o'clock in the morning is very unsettling. It's very disconcerting.
Yeah.
Dr. Alcott also grabbed his gun, rushed out to confront whoever or whatever was shining that light into his window, and was kind of stopped in his tracks when he saw not a person, but a humanoid creature with bat-like wings. He also reported that he saw this light that was coming from the horn in the creature's forehead. And unlike U.G. Griffith, who only fired and then was like, nope, I'm out of here, Dr. Alcott fired 5 times at this creature. And what was the most uncomfortable aspect of it for him was that he did hit it, but it made no difference to this creature. It caused no effect. There was no blood that came out. There was no howl. There was no wincing in pain. There was no reaction. There was no effect on the creature whatsoever. So obviously, when you are faced with that situation, that would be insane to think, okay, well, at least I'm safe. I have this one weapon that takes down pretty much anything. And for it to not even cause it pain, he ran. And I do not blame him. So obviously, this starts to become the talk of the town. It's a very small town. After one sighting, you know, U.G. Griffith was going around, like, the few people that he spoke to about it, because it's not like he was waving a bell in town going, there's a monster, there's a monster. He's talking about it with people that are close to him, because even he says, I don't know what I saw. I feel crazy. Yeah. But now there's someone else who's saying it, and the people who have been told are starting to talk. Someone is saying, you know what? My friend told me this crazy story about yada yada yada. Someone would respond and say, you know what, my friend said that they saw the same thing. And U.G. Griffith was very well respected in town, obviously, as was Dr. Alcott. He was the town doctor. Inherently, that was a big deal. So not only is it 2 people in town, more than one person automatically makes a story more believable. But it's these two very respectable, high up citizens of the town, right?
Yeah.
So people are starting to talk, and then suddenly there's more sightings. So others are claiming that they saw this creature perched on top of telephone poles, which is interesting because this would have been the thought of just a telephone pole. Me being the historical nerd that I am, it would be such a new sight to even have telephone poles in town, and not everyone would have had access to phones because it's 1903. Right? So it's mostly the main businesses in town that are going to have telephone poles. So it's crazy to think that these exist at all. But there's the movement across buildings, which is consistent when it's being seen. And everyone is talking about this horrible smell, this sulfuric, rotten egg smell, which we've talked about before is a very common occurrence with, well, just cryptids in general. It's absolutely associated with demonic presence, but it seems to be cryptids in general that are, there's some kind of smell that they leave behind.
Yo, this stink.
Yeah, and it's not just because Bigfoot lives in the woods, okay?
Leave Bigfoot out of this.
So obviously all things, but specifically bad things, seem to come in threes. So once again, this creature made an appearance. And the third appearance was to this man named Clarence Dunn. So Clarence Dunn had heard about Dr. Alcott's experiences. We don't know for sure if he had heard about U.G. Griffith's, but he had definitely heard about the doctor's perspective. And he decided, like a good upstanding citizen, especially in a small town, that he was going to stay up and keep watch. He was going to keep an eye on things. And what's the most important place in these towns?
Hospital?
No. Wrong.
Police? School?
The bank.
Post office?
The bank.
Oh.
Good job, Jamie. You knew. And he brought his shotgun along in case this visitor monster should stop by. Because, in all honesty, he still believed that it was just burglars and just people playing some elaborate joke and trying to distract people so that they could commit their crimes. So again, around 1 o'clock in the morning, the Van Meter monster made an appearance. However, this time, Clarence Dunn said that he heard what he described as a strangling noise outside of his home, and that's what pushed him to go outside to investigate. The first two stories, it was the immediate perception of the light shining into the window that woke them up and drew them outside. This time it was a strange noise, not a light shining in the window. However, as he went to open the door to go investigate, he was hit in close range with the light emitting from the Van Meter monster.
And then he blew up.
No. He did say that as the light, either the light started to fade or he kind of became more accustomed to the light, he could make out a large figure through the light, behind the light. And instinctively, just as U.G. Griffith and Dr. Alcott had done, he fired his shotgun at the thing in front of him, and it went right through the bank's window. So, did he do a great job of protecting the bank? No.
No.
He shot through it. But it was good. But again, like the shots that Dr. Alcott fired, they had no effect on the visitor. And he just up and disappeared. He did his thing, jumped around, and flew away. This time, there was more evidence. And the next morning, outside of the bank, there were several sets of three-toed footprints. Supposedly, Clarence Dunn made plaster casts of these three-toed footprints, but they've never been found. which is, it feels very similar to a lot of the evidence in cases like this. Even, like, think back to...
I have videos of Bigfoot, but I'm not releasing them.
But, like, the original Patterson-Gimlin film, which don't even get me started talking about the Patterson-Gimlin film. Ooh. But the original copy ended up lost.
Yeah.
Think about the Somerton Man. All of the details about the Somerton Man, which has now been solved. We know who he was now. We don't know why he was there, but we know who he was.
Really?
Yeah. We could do an episode on him. Ooh.
Okay.
But a bunch of details around that case ended up in a shed and just got lost. So a lot of these key details in big cases like this seem to just get thrown to the wayside, which is really, really unfortunate. So those were the 3 big sightings. There were other minor sightings, I guess, like very brief encounters with the Van Meter monster throughout the next few days.
Sorry guys, it was me.
It was Jamie. Yeah, she just
Sorry.
couldn't help herself.
I'll butt out, my bad.
So, supposedly the owner of a local hardware store, a man named O.V. White, was a person who saw the monster asleep on top of a telephone pole. And, to no one's surprise, tried to shoot it.
Huh. Why? That's new.
No one's tried that before. Instead of using his light or making that strangling noise, though, in this circumstance, it's said that the Van Meter visitor was awoken and expressed frustration or annoyance or displeasure, whatever, by releasing a terrible smell towards O.V. White.
It farted.
Kind of like a skunk. Just farted in displeasure. Actually, not like a skunk, like my son. That's my child does that. Mr. White's neighbor, Sidney Gregg, also saw the creature at the same time, which is interesting. He didn't witness him fart at him.
Sorry.
Fuck.
I've got a very vivid imagination of what's happening
This
right now.
could be such a scary topic, and Jamie can't get past the fact that this creature just farted and dipped.
I'm so scared. Guys,
But-
what was that?
Oh my god. That was
so
not
scared.
me.
It's a ghost or something.
But it's interesting that someone else saw it on top of the same telephone pole at the same time. It was 2 people at once without interacting with each other. But Sidney Gregg said that this creature farted at O.V. White and then dismounted the pole, flew through the town, and headed towards the old coal mine on the outskirts of town. And this is where we see the biggest confrontation and kind of the climax of the story. It feels very Beauty and the Beast. Because the townsfolk were tired of being terrorized by this thing. More people are seeing it, they don't understand what's happening, and the problem is, it's almost as if it was actually attacking or doing something violent, it would be better, because they would at least know what was going on. While in this case, it's just kind of shining a light and inspecting, and they don't know what it is, they don't know where it came from, and they don't know what it's doing or what its intentions are. So it's the unknown. It leaves everything sort of up to the imagination, and when your imagination is left to run rampant, a lot of scary thoughts can come into the fixture, right? True. So, according to the story, the townspeople worked together and tracked the activity towards the abandoned coal mine. And 2 creatures supposedly appeared.
I read that.
A larger one and a smaller one.
It's not a Van Meter monster, it's monsters.
Exactly. Now, we don't know if this is a case of... We don't know anything, actually. But we can speculate that this could be a male and a female, or a parent and a child, or just a younger and an older sibling. We don't know. We don't have any answers. But what we do know is that in the same way as the townspeople tried to attack the beast, these people didn't come with fire and torches, they came with more guns that didn't work the first 5 times. But maybe if everybody brought a gun, it would work. Again, it's 1903. I know they didn't have many options. However, what was...
You know what I would have brought? A gun.
Crazy. I wish they had thought of that, actually.
Yeah. No. Realistically, well, if I saw this creature right now, okay, yeah, we're gonna go hunt it down. What do I have even with me? I could make maybe a Molotov cocktail. I don't have a gun license. I can't.
But how about literally anything? Here's the thing. I can understand, especially as someone in a family that enjoys hunting. I personally don't. But surrounded by people who do. I understand having a gun with you. I understand defending your land and doing your thing. But when it doesn't work the first 5 times, what's that quote that's like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
These people are insane.
God.
But again, shocker to no one's surprise, the guns didn't work, but they did scare the creatures, and the creatures retreated into the mine, which then caused the locals to seal the entrance to the mine. And that ending kind of feels almost scripted, like this monster in the cave, and there was this big final showdown, which is a big reason why skeptics question these retellings and really question the details of the case, which is fair, but at the same time, think about Mothman, think about, again, the Jersey Devil. There's very similar elements to it.
It makes me feel bad.
Yeah.
Because we saw something, we didn't know what it was, we shoved it into a mine and then left it there to die. Mm-hmm. Scary, leave it alone, we don't,
It makes...
we just killed those things?
It makes me think... So my son is really into Winnie the Pooh right now, which I'm loving. And we just watched the Winnie the Pooh Heffalump movie. Uh-huh. And it's very similar to how everyone in the 100 Acre Wood approaches the Heffalumps, thinking that they're these big scary creatures that do all these terrible things, and then
they're just elephants.
When they meet the Heffalump says, "No, I can't go into your side of the woods. There's this big scary creature with stripes that bounces and growls." That's Tigger. Oh, there's this big scary creature with long ears that is angry at everyone. That's just Rabbit. Like, perspective. It's a big thing. So, and fantastic segue into my original point of why they changed the topic, or changed the title of this creature from the Van Meter monster to the Van Meter visitor. We don't know that it was actually a terrible thing. We don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
But it was visiting. So that's...
Can I also say...
I was going to say, do you have anything to add? Because I've been talking a lot.
Yes. One funny thing. I had just a list of theories of what it could have been.
Perfect.
But my pathetic self, when I was doing the schedule, I wrote cryptid with Kate, gas guzzler or something.
So this is the thing. Jamie texted me. She said, "We're going to do a cryptid episode. What kind of cryptid do you want to do?" I said, "Oh, I have one that I've wanted to do. The Van Meter monster." She said, "Perfect. Never heard of it. Sounds really cool." And today I call her. She goes, "I don't understand why it's named that. There's no vans involved. There's
no gas.
There's no meters that are measuring anything." I said, "No, because no. It's not the mystery machine that we're diving into here."
Yeah, besides that, I have theories if you want me to go over them, or is there anything else?
We can jump into theories. I just have the only evidence that we really... Because I was talking about skeptics and how skeptics question the first-hand accounts and kind of think that this could be a group paranoia situation, that sort of thing. But supposedly there is evidence, physical evidence, that existed, and this reported evidence included those 3-toed footprint plaster casts that I was talking about.
That we can't find.
Unfortunately, we can't find them. The broken windows from gunfire.
Sure.
Which, I'm not a skeptic. I fully believe
that's like
something...
supplemental evidence,
but exactly,
though. That's not proof of anything.
Exactly. These people were just shooting.
Yep.
But there's also newspaper reports, which...
Hearsay.
Yes, but the fact that it's included and there's documentation of things like this, you have to realize, too, that in 1903, there's not versions of, like, the National Enquirer and, like, scandalous newspaper. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there were, but it's not at that same scale. Everything...
You're, like, one news source.
Exactly, especially in a small town. So if something is relevant and needs to be told to the whole town, it's in there.
Mm-hmm.
So having that documentation means that there was deeper conversations happening and that there is at least some substance to the story. Again, it is supplemental evidence. It is hearsay to a certain degree, but it is also documentation that this was at least a topic of conversation that was of major relevance to the town. And unfortunately, as I said, the footprint cast disappeared, and there's no preserved biological samples or photographs. No one... I mean, it's not like today when you can whip out your phone and take pictures. It's not like... Even going back to the Patterson-Gimlin film, there's not easy access to a camera. You can't point and shoot and be done in 1903. They're not going to carry around this giant camera and hope that this monster stays still enough for the exposure to hold, right? So it's difficult, and it's understandable why there is skepticism around it. However, when you consider the scope of, again, stories like Mothman, the Jersey Devil, these winged creatures, humanoid-esque creatures, are increasingly more common as people look into the history in small-town America. But yeah, it's interesting that this has become a reoccurring theme throughout small-town America, which kind of adds more credence to the idea of creatures like this, not necessarily just the Van Meter Visitor or just Mothman or just the Jersey Devil, but this idea that there might be something there.
Yeah.
Let's jump into some theories of what it could have been.
Yay! I don't know if you have any, but I've got like 12. None of these are mine.
I have 5.
Cool. The most related to what you were just talking about, mass hysteria. I'm open to it. You can't prove or disprove it. There are cases of it throughout history. Is this one of them? Maybe. Hoax/publicity stunt. Maybe they wanted to increase traffic to get more money and tourism and whatnot because it's a small town. But I feel like it's such a small town that if it was a hoax, someone would spill the beans and then everyone would know.
Exactly.
So I don't necessarily believe that one, personally. A giant crane that was just grossly exaggerated. Is that one of yours?
Yes.
Yeah. Which unfortunately checks out. I'm wondering maybe the bright light, I don't know, maybe it was a reflection of something, but it could have very well just been a giant crane, because I believe they're native to that area or something, right?
They're native to a lot
indigenous
of areas.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know where birds are native to, Jamie.
I should have asked Gregory.
Yeah.
Same thing, some people believe it's a turkey vulture. Which that also sort of checks out. Giant flying creature with like leathery wings. Kind of scary looking. Especially if it's nighttime, or you just woke up, middle of the night. Again, doesn't really account for the light.
No.
But but it counts for everything else. Giant bat. A giant undiscovered bat species from the mines. That one I'm open to.
I hate that, but...
Same with people could have also been wondering if it was like a giant serpent. That's just a creature we haven't discovered. That came from the mines again.
Serpent with wings?
Yeah.
I hate that.
Like the Kohak?
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah.
Like that one?
Spell that for me, Jamie.
C. And then a few other letters. And then, of course, you've got the paranormal one. You know, is it a demon because it smelled like sulfur? Mm-hmm. Is it a Van Meter monster? Is it a monster? Is it a cryptid?
Van Meter
is it a
monster?
spirit?
I hardly know her.
Is it a ghost? Is it an interdimensional being? We don't know. There's no proof. And of course, you probably have it on yours. Is it an alien?
Why would I have that?
I am most likely to believe this or one of the other theories that I'll mention, but I feel bad if it was an alien. They killed it at the end of this story.
We don't know that.
They locked it in a mine.
We don't know if aliens need oxygen.
Does that mean it's just been down there for not hundreds of years? When did this happen? Over 100 years.
Yeah, there you go.
We can't eat anything down there. I don't know.
It wasn't eating anything that we know of.
What if it was friendly?
I'm not trying to defend them locking it in the mine. I'm just saying, if it's an alien, we don't know how it works.
Some people think it was, I don't know how to pronounce this, an ornithological anomaly.
You pronounced it perfectly, actually.
Really?
That was insane.
Yes. And I won't repeat it because I'll do it wrong.
Ornithology is the study of birds.
Yeah. So they think it might have been like a giant bird and perhaps,
Perhaps was a bird.
Perhaps the light was maybe the moonlight reflecting off of it or something.
You guys.
If that makes sense. What was that?
What was that?
Another fun one that I don't really believe, but I think it's fun. It's a dragon. What if it's a dragon? Got them leathery wings. And the last one I have is that what if it's a dinosaur? What if it's a pterodactyl? A modern day pterodactyl.
We got some similar theories here.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think I can kind of, to go off of what you've said, to kind of combine...
I believe pterodactyl the most.
Okay.
Final answer.
Okay, lock it in.
Betting all in, Alex.
Lock it in.
Yep.
Well, Alex is dead, so... I think about it every goddamn day.
R.I.P. King.
Anyway, this episode is dedicated to Alex Trebek. To go off of combining the theory of just general misidentification and panic and the giant bird or giant crane theory, obviously the leading skeptical explanation for a lot of cryptids is birds. A lot of explanations are that it was a sandhill crane. It's always a fucking crane, too. Mothman, there's similar theories that it was a sandhill crane. Herons, a fucking escaped exotic bird. And I can understand that, absolutely. People see large wings. There's reflective eyes. There's an unusual silhouette at night. So if you're seeing something you don't understand, you just attribute it to what you can. However, my problem with the bird theory is, as you said, birds don't have forehead searchlights.
Right.
Most. No. Also, regardless of how large sandhill cranes can be, and herons can be, and maybe even exotic birds, if we're going so far as to think of, like, the fucking Kevin from Up, these birds aren't 9 feet tall. And they're not thick, and I was gonna say buff. Sorry. Oh my god, I started.
Oh.
Oh, it's warm in here all of a sudden.
Don't cheat on Mothman.
They're not. can't. I would never. But they're not these giant, hefty creatures. And the sulfur smell still remains unexplained. These birds don't emit smells of sulfur.
They do have their
So
tummy
I'm
hooks.
sure. I hate you. But you know what I mean? Like, I can understand certain aspects, but the key factors in this don't make sense.
Yeah.
And they don't, the giant bird thing doesn't add up for me. But to go off of
Computer,
that and
what do pterodactyls smell like?
oh my god. But to go off of this,
Caitlin. Pterodactyls and other clones likely smell like a modern-day mix of coastal birds and reptiles, a pungent blend of musty smells, scales, and rotting
get into
fish.
that. I'm gonna get into that. Shut up. Wait 3 seconds.
Computer, wait 3 seconds.
But to go off of this idea of it being misidentification and then group panic that leads to this, that's also an explanation that a lot of people favor, is that someone did see a strange bird. Originally, it was U.G. Griffith seeing a sandhill crane. Word spreads, people become anxious about what's going on, and then the expectations influence later witness testimonies. And these stories grow larger and stranger and more out of hand until we have Mothman, the Jersey Devil, the Van Meter monster. Because you have to keep in mind that small communities in 1903 had little nighttime lighting. It's not like it was a big city where everything was bright all the time. They had no radio or TV. They'd just gotten telephone poles. And there was a strong word of mouth influence in literally every aspect. There's a reason small towns are known for gossip and all of these things. So this idea of sort of like mass social amplification could turn what was undoubtedly a strange event to begin with into a local phenomenon and make it completely different. Do I think that's what happened though? No.
Oh.
You did mention the hoax thing. Some people have suggested that it was either pranksters with costumes or lanterns, or they had mining equipment and headlights.
Oh, that checks out.
The problem is, with this theory, these witnesses were firing guns.
Right.
And maintaining a hoax like this for several nights under the conditions
Hope I don't get shot.
that they were under, especially when these people were saying, like Dr. Alcott said, he shot 5 times and hit it. It seems risky. And there was one cryptid discussion post that I saw on Reddit. I hate that I have to use it sometimes. But one person put it, who keeps returning after getting shot at? If you're playing a prank, you're not getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
If you're getting shot at for 5 nights straight, what are you doing?
That is so true.
My personal favorite, as much as I like, so I'll say that one. There are, yes, these supernatural extraterrestrial explanations. Some people have talked about it being an interdimensional being, like Bigfoot, where it's going, hey, don't knock it.
Oh, I believe it,
Where it's
unfortunately.
passing through. Maybe it's an alien visitor. Maybe it's this demon-like entity, again, like Jamie said, that's using this sulfur smell. These theories came because of the unusual details. There's the light beam, there's the sulfur, there's this immunity to bullets, and it seems very out of this world. But that seems boring to me. My favorite of these theories is the dinosaur theory.
Yes.
And cryptid enthusiasts like myself often connect it to a surviving relative or remaining pterosaur, like a pterodactyl, like a pteranodon, like I got schooled by one of my students once. I taught this kid who's very high functioning, but very autistic,
I could have guessed.
and big into dinosaurs. And he came in holding a stuffed animal one day. And I said, "Oh, good morning. I really like your pterodactyl." And he looked at me and went, "Miss Caitlin, it's a pteranodon." Like he was offended that I had said something. And I said, "Fuck. I will never make that mistake again." Oh my god. So now every time I talk about pterodactyls, I'm like, I have to mention pteranodons.
Right.
I got schooled. So, who knows? Basically, unknown flying reptiles. Like you said.
Amazing.
But I think you said serpents, which is what threw me off. But that same theory
Yeah.
of this unknown flying reptiles.
Yeah.
The issue,
No.
which I don't, I'll follow up on it, why I don't agree with it, is that there's no fossil evidence that supports surviving pterosaurs in modern times. However, do I still believe in the Loch Ness Monster?
Yeah.
Yes. Is the largest theory about the Loch Ness Monster that she's a surviving dinosaur? Yes.
I went to Loch Ness.
I know, I'm going too. I made Holland promise that she would do.
I didn't see her. She did not come when I called. I stuck my hand in the water and everything. I did not have like a mermaid moment. She did not come to me. I did meet a dog with no owner though, and I was gonna take him home, and he didn't. I didn't. Maybe the dog was Loch Ness in disguise.
I can just picture you sticking your hand into Loch Ness and just waving it around, being like, "Nessie!
I'll send you pictures.
Nessie here!"
Brenna took pictures of me. Apparently I look really goofy.
Incredible. I'm gonna look the same. Holland was like, "What do you want to do in Scotland?" I said, "I have one request." She said, "Is it Loch Ness?" I said, yes. She went, "Okay."
Yeah.
But again, I don't, I was gonna say, I don't need fossil evidence, but that sounds insane. But my thought in this is that, look at chickens, look at alligators, look at all of these things, even the, like, just birds in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have all of these creatures that are so reminiscent
Photos.
of
They're dinosaurs.
of their dinosaur ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, I know I talk all the time about how we don't know what's in 90% of the ocean, which is another reason why I believe in Nessie, but that's for another day.
Yeah.
But think about things like all of these abandoned mines and these caverns and things that humans can't explore because we're going to get into situations like Nutty Putty where people are going to get stuck and it's going to be horrendous. But who's to say that there's not equally as many unexplored creatures that are coming out of places like that?
Yeah.
And this abandoned mine shaft outside of 10 Meter, Iowa. I need you all to know that as many dirty jokes as I make that she leaves in, she makes just as many, if not more, and then cuts them out. She makes me look like I'm some dirty cougar. She's disgusting. Just so we're all clear.
You're not a cougar.
But yeah, who's to say that there's not unknown creatures living there, and that this creature couldn't be one of those things?
I believe it. I'm open to it.
Yeah. I think what's cool about the story and what draws me into it is that there's a lot of weird details and like lesser known parts of it that people often miss out on. Like we said, there's two creatures, not one. There was one that was seen in the town, but there were more than one, which is not super common. You don't typically hear stories of more than one Bigfoot or more than one goat man at the bridge. Like, those jumping movements that I was talking about before taking off, the smell of sulfur was sometimes described as being so strong that it caused nausea.
Me after
the
cabbage.
creature itself is just fucking me smelling sulfur in general. This rotten egg. Ugh,
Yeah.
no thanks. Can't do it. The creature wasn't described as furry.
A furry?
Say like Mothman, like fuzzy. But many reports are emphasizing the smooth, leathery skin. And again, a lot of modern enthusiasts, such as myself, connect it to creatures like Mothman and the Jersey Devil because it involves a flying humanoid, glowing features without a real attack, and these fear-inducing encounters where people are just scared because they don't understand. I guess what gets me about it and what kind of keeps the story of the Van Meter monster going is most of these details can technically be stretched into natural explanations. Giant bird has wings. Fear leads to exaggeration. And seeing this thing in the dark, it's very easy to mistake the size. But the one feature that consistently cannot be explained is the beam of light coming from the head. Yeah. And that is what people keep coming back to, because there isn't an obvious natural animal equivalent. Some think it was that later embellishment from retellings, and some people hold on to this idea that it was a reflected lantern or some sort of like visual illusion. In the episode of Astonishing Legends where they were talking about it, I think it was really interesting. They connected the idea that it was some interdimensional, potentially extraterrestrial being with the thought of, we're also getting accounts from 1903 when they don't have... Yeah. They're relating it to things that they understand, right? But if you think of light coming from the front of something, think about like a digital camera. Think about a recording device. Think about things that are scanning. These are concepts that we have now, that this could have been something technological, but they wouldn't have had the words to explain. So what can they refer it to? A beam. But it would be really interesting to know what kind of beam and was this a camera? Was this a recording device?
If you saw the Van Meter monster, feel free to reach out to us. We'll do a seance. Insane. Let me know. I'll get on that.
Insane. But you know what I mean? Like, it's interesting to look more at that theory from that perspective of like, okay, well, they didn't have the words to know that that's what a digital camera looked like, or that's what a video camera would be doing, or that this thing could be a listening device. Like, whatever it is, they wouldn't have known, because that's not in the vernacular of 1903.
True.
So, who knows? The original 1903 newspaper reports are more unsettling than modern retellings, because it's palpable fear and palpable confusion from these people. They really... He's up now.
Wrap it up!
They really don't understand.
Yeah.
And it's that lack of understanding that's never been solved. That's why the story never disappeared.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Van Meter Festival is now an annual thing. They have the Van Meter Visitor Festival as its annual cryptid event. And the town has really been able to embrace the monster, which is crazy because they locked it away and buried it in a mine shaft. But it's embraced the monster is part folklore, part tourism, and part of their local identity. But yeah, that's the story of a little town in Van Meter, Iowa that was ravaged by this creature. It's not one that I hear talked about often, but I think it's a really interesting thing when you look at it from a wider perspective on cryptids.
Yeah. I'm glad we did talk about it.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got to talk about it with you.
Yeah. Not another solo episode.
And make sure to email us at creepsandcoffee@gmail.com if you want to give us any suggestions. Subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/creepsandcoffee. You can do it for free or paid membership, up to you. Follow us on Instagram, Creeps and Coffee. Ignore the construction behind me. Follow us on X, Creeps and Coffee, or Creeps and Coffee on TikTok.
Cool. Okay, love you, bye.
Bye.
Creeps and Coffee is produced and edited by us, Kate and Jane.
Our theme music is Stuck in a Hole by Dated.
For more information on where to find them, check out the link in our show notes. And to connect with us, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Creeps and Coffee.